there, that's one page from what we are calling the Leonard Kernan Manuscript. There's a date on the bottom there, you can see it. It's January the 4th, 1845. And the tune is Sporting Kate, generally known now as Bonnie Kate, at the bottom. Miss Johnson above, the old writing with the S's, the long intermediate S. Now, this is an interesting manuscript. It's the oldest of the ones that Conor was studying. The daddy of them all, you might say. And I actually have it in my possession, and I was given it by Pierce Butler from Abbeyshrew. Pierce's son is sitting on the stage here now, Colm Butler, and beside him is Mary Reilly, whose father taught me the elements of bowing the fiddle, the Irish music element. I'd already learned to play the fiddle from a master Flannery, but I was put in on the correct bowing and way of playing Irish music by Mickey Reilly, Mary's father. So these people go back a long way, and they were in the very, very first Ceol band that I had way back. We had the 50th anniversary of it there only last month, and they got together again, and they played the same tunes that they played in the All-Ireland, which they won in 1966. So I think a round of applause for St. Chinnock's Ceol band. Now, St. Chinnock's Ceol band brought me into contact with Pierce Butler, and Mickey Reilly and Pierce Butler were my great helps in picking tunes and so on for the band, and picking musicians for the band and arranging the band. So, and I used to call regularly to both their houses. And on one occasion, I was presented with this manuscript by Pierce. He said, "You'd make more use of this than me." And it's, I've had it ever since. I've used some tunes out of it for bands over the years, and in fact these are going to play some tunes from it in a moment. But Conor has been working on this, and he discovered there's actually two manuscripts that were stored together. And the first one is where Kiernan, or Kernan as he spelled the name, was teaching a boy called Michael Leonard, and they had a pub in Abbeyshrew. It's now Rooney's pub. The Rooneys are interrelated to the Leonards. It's the same family connection all along the line. But this Michael Leonard, anyway, was learning the fiddle from Kiernan. And actually, you can see this is Conor, this is Kiernan's own writing here, yeah. And actually, a few pages on, Leonard writes the same tune, Miss Johnson, they have it up there, and they take turnabout in writing the manuscript. So it's a learning process, and the bowing is marked in there. If you like to look at the bowing, it's very. Mickey Reilly, that taught me the fiddle, said that the basic bowing is called slur and cut, and that you mix it up, you vary it, but if you're tightened, he always said, get back to the slur and cut. And the slur and cut is marked the whole way through there, in each of the four groups of four notes. The first two are slurred, and the second two are played individually. That's called slur and cut. And this, that's the basic bowing that I was taught by Mickey Reilly. And it's handed down in all the manuscripts from Kiernan down. The second manuscript is a continuation. That is sort of a Leonard continuing to gather tunes, maybe over a few years after he had learned the fiddle from Kiernan. But it's a very interesting manuscript. And how did Pierce come by this manuscript? Pierce was a fiddle player, but he was also a carpenter. And work had to be done on Rooney's pub roof, which had been Leonard's. And he was up in the roof space and found the manuscript in the roof space of Rooney's pub back in 1962, I think it was it, Conor? Yeah. 62. How we know that is that on one of the pages, he wrote down a little calculation. it was 1962, and under it was 1845, the date to say, subtract 117. 117 years from the time that the manuscript was written till the time that Pierce found it in the roof of Rooney's pub. 117 years. So there's a little calculation in the manuscript written in by Pierce. It's a marvellous thing. He brought it down and he showed it to Mrs. Rooney, and Mrs. Rooney said that she didn't play any music, and you play music, and it might be of more interest to you. So Pierce brought it home, and he might have looked at it every so often, but he put it up in the press. And this particular day that I was there, I had been talking on the radio about another manuscript, which we will come to later, and Kiernan was mentioned in it. And he says, you know, he says, I have a manuscript here, and I think it's the same Kiernan that's mentioned in this one. And he took it down, and here it was, this manuscript. And we went through it, and I said, definitely it's the same Kiernan. And he said, well, look at it. He said, I'll give it to you. He said, you'll make more use of it than I will. So that's the background to this manuscript here. I think we'll leave it at that for the moment. We're going to get Colm Butler, son of Pierce Butler, and Mary Reilly, daughter of Mickey Reilly, the top mate that's Slurring Cut, to play. Mary's going to play first a tune from the manuscript that I wrote out, where we actually brought. It was way high up. Did want to be Fritz Kreisler to play it. So I brought it down to lower levels for band purposes, and that's the version that Mary is going to play. It's not exactly the way it's in the manuscript. It will take, as I say, a Fritz Kreisler to play it. It just shows you how good they were in those days, how the type of music that they were fit to play. But anyway, Mary's going to play it. Now, there's no name on it in the manuscript, and we called it, it sounds a bit like a clan march. It's not really. It probably is an import from English music. I don't know, but because in a lot of the tunes that are in this manuscript, we'll talk about them in a moment. But this particular one, it may be. Somebody said to me, Micheál O'Halloran said to me, "That's not a clan march." He said, "That's more like a Morris dance," and maybe it is. But anyway, it's the most beautiful tune, and we played it at the Ceol in Tullamore, I think, and we called it the Chonmhaicne March. How about that? Mary's going to play that now.
Yeah, I'd just like to say I feel honoured this evening and thank Father John and Conor here for inviting us to play some tunes and participate in this. Thank you very much.
Play two tunes together, and the first one is it's a quadrille from the Kiernan manuscript. The second one I gave to Mary, and it's called Murray's Dream. and it's not actually from this manuscript. My recollection is that it's from another manuscript. I think it's from the Sutherland manuscript in County Leitrim, Buckford Haran. Thanks very much.